still day. Baby on the way, mad bills to pay. That's why you drink Tanqueray, so you can reminisce and wish you wasn't living so devilish. Shit, I remember I was just like you, smoking blunts with my crew, flipping those 62s. Cause GED wasn't B.I.G. I had to get P.A.D. That's why my moms hate me. She was forced to kick me out, no doubt. Then I figured out Knicks went for 20s down south. Packed up my tools for my raw power move. Glock 19 for casket and flower moves. For Trump's trying to stop my flow, and what they don't know will show on the autopsy. Went to see Poppy to cop me a brick. Asked for some consignment, he wasn't trying to hear it. Smoking mad Newports cause I'm doing court for an assault that I caught in Bridgeport, New York. Catch me if you can like the gingerbread man. You better have your gat in hand, cause man,
a man with a dream with plans to make cream. Still struggling, survival got me bugging.
Souls of a soldier in the streets of survival.
Life as a shorty shouldn't be so rough.
The rough life, I just be up nights. It got
Still
me
struggling.
champagne
May
wishing.
help you maintain.
in the everyday struggle.
I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job, had second hands. Moms bounced on old men. So then we moved to Shaolin Land, a young youth. You're rocking the go-to, low goose. Only way I begin to G-York was drug loot. And let's start it like this, son. Rolling with this one and that one, pulling out gats for fun. But it was just a dream for the team who was a fiend. Started smoking wools at 16 and running up in gates and doing hits for high stakes. Making my way off fire escapes. No question I was speed for cracks and weed. The combination made my eyes bleed. No question I would flow off and try to get the dough off. Sticking up right boys on ball courts. My life got no better. Same damn low sweater. Times is rough and tough like leather. Figured out I went the wrong route. So I got with a sick tight click and went all out. Catching keys from cross seas, rolling in MPVs. Every week we made 40 G. Yo, brothers, respect mine. I ain't gonna
Hello. Ooh, that was probably really loud. What's up, fellas, ladies, gentlemen, D-gens, fellow decouplers? Welcome back to Hxro Labs Live on Thursday afternoon, where I'm at. Might be nighttime for you. If it is, shout out to you for staying up late to hang out with old Dusty RT. Dusting off the scalping pants lately. RT and the Hizzy. That's right. What up, Matador? Karthik, Analogy, Swiveljaw, and Hxro. Great to see you guys on here. Yeah, new time, OX Aero. So if you haven't seen us live, maybe now is a better time for you. We moved this back because the TRI Daily Brief is on noon, my time, every single day, weekdays. And I am a TRI enjoyer, and so are a lot of our viewers. And so it made sense to not overlap. So anyways, that's a big reason why we just switched to 2 p.m.s, which is this hour. Now let's take a look at stuff, because I gotta say, you be careful today. I'm remaining bullish in what is otherwise a risk-off feeling environment. So take it with a grain of salt, everything I say today. First off, I think we should look at the where is it? Oh dear. Okay. Just going to change something real quick here. And then we're going to take a look at the breadth indicator. And in fact, that is something. Going to take the screen capture. Excuse me, screen capping the wrong screen. So I just got to go. Y'all don't want to watch the YouTube screen. You're already doing that. Okay, here we go. And it's stuck because we're live. There we go. Oh, no, there we don't go. It's the wrong one. There we go. What the fuck? What? Bear with me, everyone. Tech is stupid. I agree. It is only letting me share the YouTube screen. Come on. You wee rascal. Okay. We're going to try something else. we'll share Slack, and then we'll go back. And that still didn't work. This is a new one. It's band pumping. Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of altcoins just like doing random saucy things right now. We're actually going to look at them at some point. I am having a brand new problem. I have a screen share on my other shot. Suppose you guys can. This is what it looks like right now. And I'm trying to switch it. To share my other screen. And it never doesn't work. Except for this time because I didn't set it up pre-stream because I was so bloody sure that it would work fine. So anyways, give me a sec. Watch this. Ready? Be right back. Fixed it. I think all I had to do is rage quit. And to rage quit the one stream. Now I'm just gonna get the chat back, and then we're fired up. All right, guys. Good to have you on today. We're just gonna have a chill day. You know, I think sometimes I have this urge to just like keep the ball rolling so hot, so heavy that I just and you don't drop the ball. It's kind of like a thing from back in the day. Anyhow, I'm gonna get these off here. I've been scalping up a storm today. Finally figured out how to. Anyway, so today we're just gonna kind of chill. I might even just go totally quiet, put on music, and do some charts. Living in this little tiny range today, I feel like I'm leaning to a break of the upside. But as you can see here, I've reduced the size of my long position because I like taking profit up against this resistance. That's what I'm doing. So, you know, we'll look at some stuff today. We're going to look at some stuff. We're going to look at some things, but mostly we're just going to sit here and watch me sweat my scalps. No, I'm just kidding. But I have been scalping quite a bit because I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling this range. It wasn't gambling when I bought Ethereum down here. Okay. It looks like it was because everyone's like, man, that Fed announcement was so bloody bearish. Because basically he said, this could go longer than we originally thought. The rates could end up higher. Our terminal rate, whatever that is, could end up higher than we originally thought. So it was like, here were our expectations, and it might be worse. And so post-announcement and through the announcement, we just dumped. And I actually, you know, I was scalping a bit through this. I was weirdly like 30 seconds late for the actual FOMC. It's a long story, basically driving from the city. I had a 4.5 hour thing to do. It took me 4.5 hours and 1 minute. So I actually arrived. It's brutal. I arrived right here. And as I was driving in, I was talking to my cousin who's an analyst and trader as well. And I had all my bids down here. And right before he says it's starting to dump into the announcement, I was like, oh my God. Like it's probably not going to get all the way down there, high or low. Like, let's bid it. And I ran upstairs in 30 seconds. Had I had 30, I watched this happen and got up. I didn't have time to set my orders. I was so salty. So I spent most of this time just kind of watching in disbelief. Anyways, I basically gave up and I was like, fuck this. I'm going to go out for a bit. And then as I was heading out, I noticed this Wyckoff throwback that I had written on my chart kind of in line with this 88.6. And you guys know I love to get long against lows because as much as sometimes they get swept and blah, 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 wah, wah, a lot of times they don't. And it's a higher low. You know, are we forming a consolidation here is the question that I had. Rather than just like a big sharp, like, oh, it was fun, but now it's all over. You know, maybe we just chill for a bit instead of like dumping to hell. Now look, indices, major indices, S&P, NASDAQ, blah, blah, blah. They look like shit. They look worse. But I'm not trading them. In fact, I'm trading the decoupler. Let's see, where is it? Bing, right here. So if you make this chart, it looks really terrible. It's messy. all these comparisons, right? If you click here on the plus sign, oh, you can't quite see it on your screen. You click here, and then you can add a bunch of other lines. Now, I lined it up so that the beginning, because it's based on percentages, so you look on the right, and it's just going to show you sort of what, since the beginning of this chart, wherever I line it, it's going to show you how they've performed. So, right now at this view, it's a little messy, ETH 27%, whatever, Dixie 7%. But I actually want to measure it right off the lows, right? So we'll say June 18th was the low here. So we're going to drag it to that. Let's do a line perfectly. And then, I want to get it a little more centered. But as you can see, takes on a bit of a different picture when you align it perfectly at the June lows. So you say, basically, since those lows, what has the market done? What have these assets done? Relatively speaking, the Dixie has outperformed everything. US dollar, and that's not surprising, right? We kind of know that. That's the thing. But look at ETH. Look at Ethereum. So I would speculate, I would postulate, I would just point out the obvious. It's not even really a theory. It's just right here in front of us that Ethereum did decouple back in July, and it was decoupling, people getting excited for the merge. And as events like that do go, they typically sell off after, as a lot of this buildup was actually just people trading the merge. Cool. But the merge in reality was, is a real event. It's going to have a material impact on the supply-demand dynamic with Ethereum. It's not just hopium. Instead of 588,000 and a bit new supply since the merge in 49 days. So in 50 days, basically, half 100, about a sixth of a year, maybe seventh of a year, we've already got almost, more than 500,000 ETH, not in circulation, not being sold by miners to pay their costs, blah, blah, blah. Instead, because of this sweet, sweet merge that just, we don't deserve you, but here you were, 2.3, so 2,300, which is a mouse fart, as our resident Rob Levy likes to say. So that is a material shift in supply and demand. So demand would have to fall off a cliff by a tune of about 90% for this to not have a positive impact on price. And as you can see, it has not disappointed. It has had a positive impact on price. So the question is that what I am calling now the great repricing, is that finished or is it just getting started? I think it's absurd to think that it's finished, so it must be just getting started. That's why I remain a resolute bull on Ethereum, despite the recent talk from Jay Powell and all that stuff. And I know everyone's like, oh, crypto can't go up without the stock market. It hasn't all year. Crypto has never really existed in a non-bullish stock market, and it pretty much correlates with all the major shifts in the stock market. Yes. But I'm seeing here is a decoupling. So it's kind of like a new paradigm, if you will. And Ethereum should reprice against the entire world because it's the only one who had a material shift in supply and demand. So those are my thoughts, those are my feelings, and that's my analysis. So when I look at ETH BTC and I see that little shakeout yesterday and it's just tagging this 12 and 26 EMA, which is how I like to follow trends, and it happened to align with the 382, which was the same for Ethereum, actually. Take a look at that in a sec. I don't see anything overtly bearish here. So even though the SPX looks like poop, we're going to go look at the ES. That's the one I chart just because it's live more of the time, and I like to chart things when the TradFi markets are closed. Now, this has printed an inverse head and shoulders, which we are all getting excited about, right? Low, low, higher, low, breakout, retest, breakout, and failed. Did not meet expectations. No pivot yet. Not even close, maybe, but could be December. Like, talk about a mixed message. Anyhow, it's trending up. This kind of broke the trend, though. So we have a high, higher low, higher high. Not a higher low. We've broken that down. So I put this pump chaser zone on there because I have to tell myself there's a chance this can come back and just continue rallying up to these objectives. It could roll over and puke. The thing is, I'm not willing to give up my Ethereum position until I see a downtrend or a shift in trend on Ethereum. Because like I said, it's set to outperform. Now, if this becomes a narrative, right? If crypto or ETH, like if this decoupling that is already objectively taking place, at least for Ethereum, if it becomes a trend, if it becomes a theme, then I think it's going to really catch fire. And so that potential upside for me is worth giving back a little bit of my gain that I have enjoyed. So, I've de-risked my local long scalp. So I managed to get in, I think it was like, 15.10, cut it last night, started trying to refill here, missed this part this afternoon, cut a little here. I think it's just going to come back down. I still think I'd like to fill here. But I've locked in some profit on that scalp because I already have a spot bag. So again, for all intents and purposes, I could just be like way too early on my bullishness, and I've enjoyed along from here. And so while most of that take profit is done on the perps, my spot's intact until we lose this low. Now, if we lose this low, I can cut my spot. I can still have enjoyed a nice profit there. And there's some really nice levels coming in below where I can just rejoin the party, where I could expect to see sort of a resumption of trend. This is the kind of level I expect to get filled in at some point, right? Just like as an inefficiency, just like we had this, sometimes it happens really soon. Other times it takes years, like in, I think we showed this on the last stream, but in 2019, see if it's here. Well, it's actually more on Bitcoin. Let's go take a look just to show you guys, because it can take a while, but those kinds of inefficiencies tend to get filled in. In the 2019 rally, it was actually right here. And I remember this because I was a lot newer to trading. And I remember thinking like up here, I was like, oh, I'm just going to wait for that dip and get filled. Well, I didn't ever get filled. I missed quite a juicy rally, but it did fill in over here. So these kinds of stilts, if you will, these inefficiencies, the market tends to like to revisit those. So I remain bullish on ETH, but like I said, I'm not stupid. If I get a very clear shift on the charts that tell me that the trend is over, then I will tuck tail and run with the profits that I made, from this to this. So a slight reduction in profit had I been a perfect top seller. And that's just kind of the way it goes with trend trading. And one of the other tools I like to use to help with trend identification, as you know, is the Trendmaster Pro. Love this tool. I don't trade their system that they designed for it perfectly. I don't just sit there and only trade this or anything, but I love it for confluence, or simply to identify trends, particularly these breakout candles, these green breakout candles. And then the way it works is the green breakout candle prints, and then if it breaks above the wick of that, you take the long, and then every time there's a big dip, they put in these fractals. That's your trailing stop loss. And as you can see on that trend, I would have got stopped out here. So in this case, we're still trending up. It's a little red, it's a little tired, but nothing has changed in the trend. And so this kind of keeps me out of trouble from watching the 15-minute chart and getting out of a high time frame long or whatever. So that's what my spot long, is based on this. My perps long, I'm just in and out, up and down like a horse George. So anyways, that's my thoughts on ETH. I'm really, really, really bullish on it. Now, I also, I'm not, like I said, I'm not stupid. So if, let's go look. Where the hell is it? God, a little wonky charts here. Come on, RT. Let's go look at this one. Yeah. So I really like, all that to say, we're going to come back here. I really like this level as far as, I think we could be intact here, to be honest. I think yesterday could be a nasty shakeout. The market can go back to remembering that we've already kind of moved away from the stock market and the bullshit. Maybe there's just not too many sellers left, and the market's going to shrug this off. That sounds like hopium, right? And that's why I try not to pay too much attention to the macro stuff, because if I did, then I would just be selling all the dips, right? Market dips on bad news, and you go and dump it. That's a stupid way to trade, I think. So, taking your bias, maybe taking a little less risk on, something like that. There's lots of things I can do for that, but Russian invasion. Russian invasion was a sell the dip, right? Except for no, it was just a higher low into my reload zone. And it was a great long. I missed it because I was staring at the Russian invasion news and I didn't want to take any longs. But these are the lessons that I learned by doing it the wrong way. And they remind me to just stay focused on what's important, which is who's in control. The bulls for now. Bears are trying to wake up. Bulls really need to step in here. Pump chaser zone, 12 EMA, right? This is the peak dip if this was going to be a continued uptrend. This is as bad as it can get. But it could still, still not invalidated. Below here, lose these lows in earnest. And I'm going to retreat to down here. In fact, a little lower. I picked up this level earlier that I really like. Just a nice conservative level, because if the market's going to break these levels, it's probably just going to come right in for a full wash of that recent trend, or breakout, I should say. And I would like to be picking things up, ideally. Spot, I might be a little more aggressive, just park some bids. But if I want to take some perp longs, I love this little area here. Just right below this support that's going to get a lot of bids. Again, I think I'm so bullish on it's like touch and go seems likely. Possible anyways. And again, not for like a brand new moon, but just, playing upwards into this range a little more. But for perps, especially if I'm just going to leave a bid open, right, not have like a local W to work with, then I need to be below here. And then any wicks below there, stopping dudes out, can be my fill. I like that idea if we break down from here. So far we haven't. So I like longing against these lows. Because I think it would be savage and totally fucking normal for the market to have just chopped everyone out there. And then, what do we get? We get something I'm not convinced that whatever we're doing up here has to be over. I will be convinced of that when I see it on the chart. Right now, I just see a bunch of, whiny, scared disbelievers who got shaken out by J-Pow basically putting the gas on. So that's cool. If that works for you, trade on his every word, but everything I see points to more decoupling. So I guess this chart just shows what is happening. It doesn't mean it goes up from here. Like once we get that, we got a nice little M top. And like I said, that's me retreating back down into these lows. Oof. So obviously in a weird way, I kind of want this to happen. So I'm being fairly conservative with my little perps up here, because ultimately, I'd love to get a check at this level and then be longer from there. Right now, let's see. Yeah, we got pretty big long off of here just because it was such a tight invalidation, and I've closed like most of it. And I think my next play on scalps is like if we break above here and hold it, like that's a pretty sweet level to get long off. So longing 1555 on the flip. Those are all my thoughts on ETH. So let's get into the grease, guys. Posted some charts in the pit. Okay, vibes. Let's go check it out. I'm going to go to the pit. I'm going to pull up your charts. Yeah, vibes. MACD, RSI, MA is looking good. Crypto total cap. Yeah, let's pull it up. Let's see if we can do it. Copy image. Just throw it right on here. Does this work? Might be a little grainy. Yeah, it's a little grainy, dude. Believe it or not, making charts visually appealing, easy to read for viewers is harder than it looks. This, again, as you can see here, guys, probably watching this, it's a little tiny. So, but I like what you're done here. Basically, he's comparing crypto total market cap, fractal, something that has happened in the past, to something that happened in the past with ETH, I guess, in 2017. Yeah. Look, this is the crazy thing. You look at this chart, and it looks like total hopium. Like, well, ETH is going to do this, and then maybe it would do that. Like, impossible. I guarantee you back then in late 2016, it looked impossible too. I mean, when shit feels and looks dark, you project that darkness into your analysis. So if we can push higher here, then y'alls, that's good. Let's look. Where's the other chart? You had another one? Yeah. No, MACD starting to turn bull. There's so many things. There's so many things right now that just tell me that this is the time I want to take risk on the long side. And I think a big part of that is that I am net bull on crypto, like for years. I just think it's mispriced. So, it's weird because there's people all over this place. There's a lot of people out there who all would agree that, Ethereum and some of these other things are just going to be a much, much, much higher price sometime in the next few years. And yet, for whatever reason, they would rather potentially miss what is looking like a very clean bottom to potentially get like down here. Like, I want to buy $600 ETH. I think it's going to 10K, but I'm not going to buy it at 1. I'm not going to buy it at 12. I'm not going to buy it at 14. I'm going to buy it here. I'm going to buy it when Jay Powell tells me it's okay to take risk again. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's the way you want to play it. It just blows my mind that if somebody has that kind of feeling about the future, that they would be comfortable just kind of having none down at these levels. It makes me so uncomfortable when I'm flat, or sitting in too many stables down here. So anyways, blah, 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 Bitcoin bull, ETH bull, same old story, RT. But, this just looks good. Just looks like, FTX, SBF, Alameda, those guys having some of this like weird liquidity FUD going around talking about like, oh man, they've got so many things, but it's all like liquid shit coins. Maybe they're going to be insolvent. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're not. I'm making that bet with my own money by keeping it on there, but they would have to blow up and everything fall apart. We go in this deep depression, all these things possible, but I'm not going to bet on it. I'm not going to bet on it. I'm going to bet on the majority of people being left behind and the market doing what it does best, which is getting you offside at the extremes. So, yeah, staying long. Okay, that's a long way of saying I'm staying long. Let's go take a look at some charts. If you want a chart, Everest hasn't moved, so don't worry. It's exactly where it was in June. Can't go down if no one's south. Let's go look at some ETH pairs. FXS, the one coin I filled, like altcoin that I'm trading. This is versus Ethereum, because here's my theory. And this is like a broader theory, like a 6-month type of thing. I think Bitcoin is going to outperform US dollars over like a midterm period. I think ETH is going to outperform. Look at this crazy setup I was toying with earlier. I think ETH is going to outperform Bitcoin in the midterm, even if it means chilling out for a little bit. This is 69.69, by the way. Just want to point that out. That's why I put this on here. I noticed today that if you take the local and this and you draw it down, the sweet spot 702 intersects with this big old trend line, which actually comes from this, what do you call these again? Messi and I were charting this back in 2020. I forget what it's called, but it worked and it blew up out of it. Anyways, that trend line is still getting some play over here. This is just an old chart I pulled up today. I was like, oh, look at that. Well, it happens to intersect perfectly at 69.69. So I thought that'd be a really cool generational entry. As far as if this thing wants to come back and tag that, I think that'd be really funny. So it'd be pretty memey. So actually I'm going to set an alert for 71. And be like, check the 69.69 bid. And I'll go put some margin Bitcoin long on that because I just want to say that I longed 69.69 and had life-changing gains. And then, of course, if I longed that up to the flippening, somewhere around this, it would actually be a little higher, but let's just say this. It's not a bad bit of risk-reward there. Post-merge world, I think that's the kind of repricing we're going to see. So, yeah, maybe I'm crazy. Or maybe 69.69 is predestined to happen. Anyway, so I'm charting everything in ETH. Because if it's not looking good versus ETH, if ETH is doomed or destined, I should say, to outperform it, I just want to stay in my Ethereum. I don't want to swap anything into Frax unless I think Ethereum, Frax is going to outperform Ethereum. And so this charts.cointrader.pro, can't really see it on the screen here, But charts.cointrader.pro is a free kind of way to do a lot of these charts, and you can search. It basically uses crypto market cap data, so it's like slower to update, but way better history. And then you can pick charting things versus ETH. So Doge versus ETH, obviously a big outperformer. I actually tried to add Doge to this chart, and it just goes like this. Bing! And it's just gone. You can't even see it. So I'm coping, so I'm going to leave that off. Anyways, let's go back. Uh-oh, it was here. Yeah, so Doge outperforming ETH right now. This is Ethereum's looking great, and look at Doge outperforming it. So what are the other things? Let's talk outperformers, because that's the only thing I really want to look at if it's an altcoin. Yeah, I think Atom looks really good. It's on my short list as too. I noticed New Type posted that in the chat, and that's also on my short list, as you can see here. Watching this breakout, sometimes I don't use lines for that reason, because you can just draw them one way or the other. I like to just use a bar, because these kinds of levels are not usually too exact. Fibs are exact. Support resistance, they can bleed through and come back, and it still counts, right? So let's see. This level kind of goes back a ways. Arguably was resistance here, support here, resistance, breakthrough, a little bit of trouble getting through resistance, flip support, and now tested. Like, I love this chart. Don't know too much about Cosmos. I'm terrible at longing it. But this is how it's looking versus ETH. It's just carving out this delicious range. So at this point, it does look destined to at least go visit these range highs, which makes it a very attractive asset for someone like me who's looking to outperform Ethereum. And then, of course, if it breaks out of this whole thing, then we get to use things like chaos PRZs, which get ridiculous. Now, I don't know why this thing would do so well versus ETH in a year where I expect ETH to reprice versus the world. But just for fun, y'all know what's coming. It says chaos PRZ. I'm not going to do the whole thing up because mostly just shit posting here, but let's take a look what chaos looks like. Oh, so that's kind of like if you took all the energy of this big accumulation range and you spit it out, it would equate to something like a 0.047. So that would be Atom at current prices. 0.04 would be like $80, $90, I think, if my math is correct. $70 to $90 Atom. That'd be pretty cool. Doesn't seem impossible. And this is assuming that ETH stayed flat, so unlikely, but possible. Okay, Atom's probably my number one, along with Frax. What else we got? Doge. Didn't pick a bag either. Yeah, biggest bag now is Aave. Okay. Tony L likes Aave. Wonder if that fits the bid here for me. It's not like out, or it's not underperforming ETH. It's just kind of flat versus ETH. So nothing wrong with that according to what I'm looking at. But it doesn't really look bullish versus Ethereum. It looks like it's just going to play ball, move along. And that makes sense. As one of the Ethereum-based blue chips, probably should just be parity, roughly. But again, this is the thing. I don't think that merge, I can pretty much guarantee it's just not priced in yet. It's not fully realized. And so I just think Ethereum is going to reprice versus the world. And so charts like this, charting most things versus Ethereum, in that world, they probably end up trickling down. And so you have net less ETH. But again, this all depends, and probably more dependent on Ethereum breaking out of this range. None of this really matters in range, right? I better keep this. I'll just hide it. I'd hate to miss a good 69.69 entry, and I will if I forget to have that on there. Yeah, this range for ETH BTC has been pretty crippling to the whole thing about ETH exploding into the sky. I think this is it. I thought this was it here. Now I think it's it even more. I'm not really going to abandon ship on this until something fundamentally shifts with Ethereum in a really bad way. Maybe like regulatory stuff, all that censoring type stuff, validators in the US getting, the clap down, who knows. If those kinds of things shift, maybe I can abandon this thesis. For now, I don't see any of that happening. I don't see anything stopping this thing from just slowly, gradually melting into the sky. So, there you go. Fishy's in the pit saying hi. What's he got? Ooh, Bitcoin looks good. Let's open the original. Oh, there it is. This is Fishy's chart. I think I opened it a different way from Vibes. Maybe I should have opened Vibes properly, and then it would look nice like this. Shout out to Vibes. Let's do it. Oh, yeah, that was a little better. Definitely a little better than my copy-paste job. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what you're showing us here, Fishy, other than what I think is a very bullish-looking chart in the sense of, like, it looks bearish because number go down for a while. But it's like, what do I look for when I want to get value? I want to look at things that are, turning up, posting little W's against levels like 786s, reload zones. So to me, this is bullish. Up here, I was like, I have a really hard time buying Bitcoin right now. Down here, much easier time. Train yourself, fool. The only thing I would caution anyone around crypto right now, this top, this breadth indicator over on the TRI dashboard, I paid for it. I think it was $200 for the year. I don't trade off it. I should refer to it before I do any big things. But look, October 20th, it flipped bull. Let's go see what was going on with Ethereum on October 20th. Oh, right here. Oof. What a hint. What a wee bit of teaser. Now, had I seen that, maybe getting longer. In fact, on the 20th, the day after, it dipped into a perfect reload zone. I remember that. I didn't buy it, but it was here. Oh, didn't. Actually, it wasn't a reload zone. Oh, maybe that was Bitcoin. I just remember one of them, like this dump was just into like that higher low. Anyways, the crypto breadth indicator signaled on October 20th to pay attention. It said things internally are shifting, momentum to the upside. That was right here. What a nice signal. Now, the fast has crossed back over the bear side on the 30th. I wasn't paying attention. Let's go see what day the 30th was. Oh, look at that. Right up against the highs. So just based purely on blind, like buy when it flips bull and sell when it flips bear, that would have been my trade. Pretty sick. So it's important to just keep in mind. And I don't feel like that's a fluke. I don't know. I don't trade off this thing enough. I should. I think after today I decided I will. And basically how this is going to work is the fast MA is just dunked now, and the slow is going to take some more time to catch up, and eventually the slow will catch up, and eventually the fast will flip back to bull. And on that day, from this view, now I'm changing all my analysis based on this, but on that day, I bet if that happens, in this case, it feels like it would be, who knows, right? But maybe it's like, ooh, 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 ooh. And then everyone forgets that we're supposed to be bullish, and then, the breadth indicator flips bull down here, and then I can get all saucy again. That's probably the patient way to do it. And that's ultimately how I am going to do it if we lose these lows. But I'm not ready to puke my guts out at the lows here. Not in what I consider a big breakout. But yeah, really cool tool. Wouldn't talk about it if I didn't think it was worth talking about. And then I don't know what the hell this means, but this thing always just lists like different names up here. We got to talk to Beamish. I admittedly don't watch enough of the Daily Brief to have learned this from him. But this, it gives me like a short list of things to look at. Let's go look at ALGO. ALGO's the number one. And ALGO, I noticed the other day, was putting in a W, possibly on the weekly. It's trying to. So it could. So ALGO, doing what ALGO does. Not a whole lot right now. Sitting down at these lows. Decent volume coming in a few weeks ago. Well, it was actually in September. And now the bull's kind of creeping up again. So I'm going to keep an eye on ALGO. I don't know what it means when it's listed here, but I should pay attention. So it's got a rating system based on something. Maybe this whole fast, slow thing specific to the coin. I don't know. But it's highest on both top 30 and this one. So that's cool. Atom, BNB. So I have a feeling that if I simplified my life and made a rule where like I only get excited for longs when this happens and then I can only focus on shorts when that's happened, I bet that would tighten up the ship for me on the daily and help me trade better. Should probably do that. Takes note. Plans to do it. Solana versus ETH. Let's check it out. Tibble. Over here. I almost took a long on Solana this morning. Then I didn't. Because if we are going to puke these lows, and if I am wrong, and if this is just stupid, and I'm just holding on for dear life, and I should just know better and get out, and we lose these lows, then I don't want to be in like 5 positions when I'm like losing in all of them. I can just chill with ETH. Still, as I told you about. I think ETH is my baby. No need to cheat on her just yet, but Solana versus Ethereum is just trending down. It's the only thing it's doing. There's no two ways about it. It will reverse someday, probably. But objectively speaking, it is just dribbling lower and lower, and it looks like it might put in a lower low here. Now, if I was a big Solana gung-ho guy, I could try to like say, hey, look, here's a higher low, and I'm going to get long of it, but I just don't see why I would. There's no real reason for me to do that. Solana has a ton of tokens vesting that were sold to early investors at a much lower price than current prices. Ethereum, yes, there was a big pre-mine, blah, blah, blah. It's just a lot more of a matured ecosystem plus the merge, blah, blah, blah. So I just don't think there's a good comp there. And I also looking purely at this chart, I bet that's getting filled in. Probably if this is, again, this versus ETH, right? So both of them could go down together versus USD and this chart wouldn't move. It'd be flat. So this, if we get down there, is probably Ethereum breaking up higher from here. And would see this kind of meltdown versus ETH on every asset on the planet. That's what I think is going to happen. Whether or not we have to visit some of these lows first, I don't know. The uptrend is intact. God, I love ETH. I'm just going to sit here and talk about how much Ethereum looks like it's going to go into the sky today. So if that's your top signal, there you have it. Count it. Yeah, Monero from December. Wow, that's the whole year. So yeah, Monero is a 3-day. That's why. Monero looks heavy versus ETH. It's been outperforming all year from December. That's pretty cool. Didn't notice that. I do like the idea of privacy, but we saw what happened with Tornado Cash. So don't think, and again, this is just the US, except for now it's kind of like everyone, OFAC, blah, blah, blah. Don't think that privacy coins are immune to the bullshit, right? I mean, there's a Tornado Cash developer in prison right now in Amsterdam, in Netherlands, just in prison for writing open source code. So if they decide that it's time for anybody who hadn't, Monero is involved with Monero to also, be sanctioned or whatever. I don't know. It sucks. It sucks a lot. I'd like there to be privacy preserving assets online. But I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that they're going to be immune in the way that I want them to be or would need them to be a savvy investment. But if I was an investor, this is generally where I would look for an asset. At the lows, looking like it wants to stop going down and build a base and start reversing. So that's what I can say for Monero. Of course, this is Monero versus ETH. Let's just see for fun. What's it doing versus USD? Yeah, it's looking good. I mean, like I say, looking good for bad. It's looking good for an asset that's doing terribly. And that is just to say, like, this is where I like to buy my shit. Down in these reload zones. And it's perfect, guys, because there's 37 of you right now. Peak bull market, we had upwards of 100. Sometimes Messi came on, brought his squad. We had sometimes 300, 400 people, apes in demand everywhere running around. And I was uncomfortable. I was very uncomfortable because this is where Monero was. I mean, last spring, okay, it never really had the fall rally. But during that time, I feel it. I'm like, oh man, this is not investable. Like, I'm in, I'm out. I have a hard time holding positions because I just feel like the sky's going to fall. Anyways, and here we are. Nice quiet stream. Channels, chats, Twitter, things dying down, people depressed, people, licking their wounds, waiting for the Fed pivot. Anyways, and then look at the prices. We're just chilling in reload zones, as things do. Where do you think Monero was sexiest to buy back on the last bull run? Oh, down in these big reload zones. And then look. So yeah, this is when I like to pay attention, get long on stuff. Monero's not the one for me. Is it alive? TA is wrecked. RUNE. Let's go check out RUNE. Real quick view versus... wow, look at my squiggly. Should have traded that. Looks like it worked out, but then we lost our lunch down here. So RUNE does look wrecked. Old squiggly for the win. Yeah. This is versus Ethereum. So there's nothing to get excited about here versus Ethereum. So I'm sitting there. I got a bag of ETH. Why would I trade it for this? I wouldn't. Sitting there. I got a bag of USD. Why would I buy this instead of ETH? I wouldn't. And that's kind of my general filter right now because I'm a big ETH bull. But it is at the 88.6 versus Ethereum. So it is the sexiest as far as buying location as it has been really since this throwback here, which would be October, November 2020. Wow. God, a lot's changed since then. How far we've come, eh? So, yeah. I'd have to see a reversal here on the weekly, and that's going to take a while. Months. So, I don't know. Do we get a Q2 spring rally next year for alts? Are we already having an alt season right now? I'll tell you what, there was some really cool news yesterday out of Meta talking about NFTs baked right into Instagram and on Facebook. And they're going to be leveraging Solana. They're going to be leveraging Arweave. They're going to be leveraging Near. And I think they're going to be leveraging Polygon, specifically Polygon to start. But I also saw some mentions of Near online. So there's a whole little basket of stuff that if you wanted to get long on the Meta crypto integrations narrative, there's a few names there for you. And it's not like a big secret. Sorry, guys. This is all over the news, and it's all over Twitter, and the pumps are kind of come and gone. The initial news pumps. Now, I, for one, think that this is bigger and warrants more than just a simple one and done. Despite the fact that we're in a bit of a hairy market right now, I would like to acquire some Arweave. This is one that Gunny and Rob have been bullish on. Last year, we did a lot of charting of this up through this shit. I never really got a bag, and it turns out that was a great idea because now it's like $14 instead of 50, 40. And yeah, okay, August 2021, I do remember passing on it here and getting left behind, whatever. But look, now we're down here. There was a breakdown here, so whatever this old charting I did in July is smoked. But look at this volume. So this again, it's news driven. Is it one and done, or is Instagram leveraging Arweave for their NFTs and all that stuff actually going to have a sustainable long-term effect on, material impact on price? Probably the latter. It's probably going to have a longer-term thing. So this could be the breakout. So on that note, where to buy, how to buy? Well, I want to use my pump chase zone because that was a pump. No mistake about it. No mistake in it. So yeah, it's kind of coming into that now. Now, if we're in a stinky market, which a lot of people think we are, objectively, it's not great. So look, we just tagged that. Ooh! While we were on the stream here, minutes ago, we've just tagged the PCZ. So the most aggressive bid came about 20 minutes ago where I would say, okay, I don't know if it's coming lower. I don't really care. I think it's going to go higher over the next 6 to 18 months or whatever. So, my first bid would have been here. I'm a LARP, though, because instead of bidding it, I'm on the stream. And there's a nice little cluster here as well as far as like throwbacks. So this should get a reaction. at least up to one of these, and then we'll see. Obviously, I hope it takes back the entire news-driven rally, and then we get to chill for a while, and then it goes and builds a base, and then goes. Very possible if you believe in the macro FUD. So I'm probably just going to DCA into a bag starting right around here after the stream. It's thin books. Actually, I don't even know if I can buy it spot on Arweave. Yeah, I don't think I can buy spot on FTX. That sucks. And I'm not allowed on Binance. Where can I get it? Ooh, Qcoin. Okay, Qcoin. A little bit thin here. A little bit thin on the sell side is thicker than the buy side, and it tells me it's a very bullish asset. I love seeing that. Right? Like you could dump 123K, but you can only buy 98. So there's definitely a lot of a stronger bid than a ask right now on a lot of these. So that's where I would have to go over to Qcoin if I want to get my spot Arweave going. It's up 41%. So like I don't like to rush into double-digit greens, even though this is a very juicy narrative. Meta charging into crypto. But you know me, I'm going to wait down here to get too saucy. And risk getting left behind and be totally okay with that. MATIC. Oh, yeah, MATIC. Big time. MATIC already looking good. I know that a lot of guys over at TRI have been talking about this one. I did not take any of the trades that they were talking about, but I probably should have. I think it was a bot setup. So, like, something like this. And then you just take this ABCD. For that to work, you need this. This. Yeah. So basically, price has to come at least 33, but not more than 66. It did that, so we have that. And then I would copy this and drag it up to that low. Then I'd switch it to this. And then if it breaks in bullish market structure above the 25, then that's a buy. Oh, we even got a chance to refill it here. So that's the trade. I think that's the trade that they're all looking at. So that's cool. Move stop loss to break even, take a little profit or just start trailing, and then pay yourself. And this would be the stop loss. That should be 3-to-1-ish. 2.97, yeah, pretty much 3-to-1. So there's a setup there. This news obviously driving it off that level. I hadn't really been paying attention. Now, of course, I am, but it's a little bit late for trading this one properly. Of course, if you think Meta building on Polygon is incredibly bullish, it really should be, right? That's insane. I mean, imagine during a bull market. Imagine during a bull market if that news dropped. It was like Facebook, Meta, this multi-billion-dollar company, although they're in the toilet right now, stock price-wise, are going to, like, exclusively, for now anyways, start using and building on Polygon. I mean, that's incredible. So maybe I am being silly, passing on something because it's 8 cents off of the perfect entry for a setup. Because a bear market rally, a proper bear market rally should take us up to the 618. And if price breaks above here, you know, there's a nice fat gap on here to fill in this entire trade. Oh, such a beautiful bot. No kidding. No wonder they're all talking about it over there. Feeling a little bit of FOMO. So I might have to go find some creative way to let myself into a different trade on MATIC, a different setup. Like an SR flip, for example. One of my reasons, and find myself a few more. Make the shoe fit, goddammit. You know, like beep boop beep doop doop dee. Maybe an SR flip here. I don't know. It's not as cute. It's not as cute, but MATIC's probably gonna just go and do some really nice stuff here. Again, all of this is on the backdrop of like, what's going on with the Fed? Everyone's, you know, and that's why I stopped listening to that stuff. You know, it's important. And if they basically telegraph terrible things coming, you should probably pay a little bit of attention. But if I pay attention to that, here's the thing. Everyone's watching the Fed for good reason. But where's the edge? I don't see the edge. I don't see the edge. And, you know, people say, wow, I will get long again once there's a pivot. The market's going to move so friggin' hard prior to any consensus pivot. And you know what? It's going to dip into a reload zone on bullish divergence, on a bullish market structure, and it's going to have a very sexy TA setup well before that pivot comes in. Pretty much guaranteed. So that's why I'm not becoming a big macro enjoyer. There's a lot of people who, you know, they had their bread and butter. This is the thing they do to make money in the markets. And over the last year, they've just become these macro enthusiasts. And all their content is now surrounding what the Fed's doing. The whole point of TA is that things are baked in. Not priced in, but baked in. For example, what's the example I'm going to share here? Ooh, really good example. What was this? I'm going to show you a trade that my buddy made today. Showed me this. He said, Phantom, Andre came back, right? Tweeted out this. I'll show you this tweet. So Andre's back. He added .ftm to his name. Ah, shit, here we go again. Basically like a subtle way of saying like, I'm back. And you might say, hey, now that he's back, and the analogy here is the Fed pivoting. Now that the Fed is pivoted, I would like to go purchase. Well, look what you're buying now, right? Now that it's official. But look what happened on the chart in the 2 weeks leading up to Andre coming back. What a sexy setup. So my buddy's already long because he doesn't give a fuck. He's not watching about Andre. He's just saying, hey, look, I got a setup here. I've got a W. I've got a retest. I'm going to get long. I'm going to go 3-1. I'm just going to trade it. I'm going to trade the TA. And wouldn't you know it, Andre came back a few days later and said, bam, I'm back, bitches. Whoa. It's like the chart already knew. And that is not a fluke. This stuff happens all the time. Where you look back prior to major news dropping, and sometimes it's like a Binance listing, and you're like, holy shit, there was insider buying because there's just massive volume like 2 weeks before out of nowhere. You're like, well, that was people that found out they were about to list. But a lot of times the chart just has a way of moving itself into a bullish setup prior to bullish things happening. It's not insiders buying. I mean, this could have been, I guess. It's like Andre told all his friends, like, hey, man, I'm coming back soon. You all should buy some Phantom. Or was it just a lack of sellers, buyers coming back? Like, who knows? It's spooky, right? But it happens all the time. And so this is probably, you know, not this exact chart, but like, yeah, you think the Fed's going to come out and be like, okay, everyone, it's okay to buy now. And you're going to go look at the ES mini futures and they're going to be down here. They'll be like, ah, excellent. I'll just step back in comfortably into my long positions and everyone wins together. No. Probably going to defy gravity, possibly from right here. Just defy gravity and be like, I don't give a fuck because there's no sellers left. And then the Fed's coming out in, what is that, January or February, and it's like, we're pivoting. Oh, thanks for the heads up. Now, look, there's nothing wrong. I'm not here to shame somebody who's just being a little gun shy and conservative and protecting their assets right now. There's nothing wrong with waiting for this level to be reclaimed, because that's pretty much going to say the bull is back and we're going to new highs. Melt up. Let's go. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different style. And you can't wait on that kind of news if you want to buy reload zones. Reload zones come when things are in the dumps. So I don't know. I hope this helps. Maybe I'm just like a ranty old man. Thoughts on KLAY? Yeah. So 3 people that I know have mentioned KLAY recently. Once in the pit too. I love the volume. Don't know anything about it, but I hear that it's got good backing, and somebody I know who's rather smart, who I respect quite a bit. Shout out to Daku if you're listening. I know you used to watch the stream. Maybe you still are. But he likes KLAY too. I don't know. I don't know a thing about it, but like this chart is uber wrecked, which I like. Don't get it twisted. I like when they're uber wrecked. That's where I like to buy. And then, of course, you have this big blast and buy volume out of nowhere. Tells me that there's a decent chance that this is the bottom. Does not mean we have to go up from here. In fact, usually things come slam down into the bottom and then they just do this for a long time. So we've arrived at the lows, in my opinion, based on that volume. Because this is a lot of volume. I mean, that's just some big, deep-pocketed individual. The types of people who decide bottoms are bottoms, they've come in and said, this is now our bid level. We're probably going to protect it. You want to sell here? Sure, we'll buy it. You want to sell here? We'll buy it. You want to sell here? We'll buy it. We'll buy it. Like they're putting their foot down. So I really like the idea of this being the low for KLAY, and then it's just a matter of like, do I think it's going to move? Is it, can I risk against those lows? Get like a little, a little reload zone. But even then, is it the fastest horse? Should I be sitting in KLAY if it's going to do this for the next year? I got to learn more about it. I want to be trading the hot ball of money. Right? I can't be out here sprinkling into 50 random coins because they're all at their lows. I need a narrative. I want that hot ball of money. I want to pay attention to what is going to move. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. Great tweet from my guy, Alex Kruger, last night, who I love to follow on Twitter. He's an outstanding macro analyst. So for all that macro I hate to pay attention to, he's the guy I listen to for the most part because he's got good analysis. Now, here's him ironing out some of the major crypto narratives driving performance, divergent performance, right? The outperform wars. Obviously, Meta, AR, MATIC, Second Soul. Third, we talked about those a bit. World Cup, I'm less excited about because it just seems so temporary. But yeah, there's definitely some chilies and Algorand. ALGO is something to do with like FIFA sponsorship or something, so they should be associated with it. And then obviously Twitter, DOGE, BNB second, and now Binance has made their I think you could have added in Mask. Mask is also part of this Bluebird basket on Binance. Doge, BNB. I don't know where BNB comes from, unless it's just the fact that CZ is doing that whole basket thing. But whatever. And then, ETH, Atom, we looked at today, also strong. Sushi, I have not looked at. And then he's basically saying, and if you're really worried about macro hedge risk or macro risk, you can just hedge with Bitcoin shorts because that seems to be the most liquid, most reactive to all that shenanigans. This is a really nice little guide for what I might want to look at in the near future. Trying to iron out a thesis, hot ball of money kind of stuff. Because this might get a full cycle, right? Are we coming into the low now? Are we, look at this. If this meta stuff is really a demand for token hype, this kind of low, if we were to get a weekly W here or just a little retest and go, could this thing really do like a full cycle here? I mean, it should reprice. If Meta has come out and said, we're going to use you exclusively to store NFTs on the blockchain, blah, blah, blah. So that's the thing, right? So does KLAY have that right now? Can I size up into a trade that's like hot ball of money and then maybe rotate those profits into KLAY when KLAY gets picked up by Samsung or whatever narrative it decides to have? That's kind of my thinking for KLAY and stuff like it. So I really like how Kruger put these out together. I think that's the exact kind of thinking that I like to engage with when it comes time to picking out of these hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of shitcoins. There's so many. So this is a great starting point if you want to do some charting and then put these on again versus ETH. If you think like me, ETH is going to reprice against the whole world because it's ultrasound money, baby. So 50 days. It's already had a reduction in 586,000 Ethereum. It's got to be billions or something. Anyways, I don't have time for this math. What I do have time for is to wrap it up because it is getting to the top of the hour and I do have a whole bunch of adulting to get done today. Lastly, I just want to point out that the Dixie looks very menacing today. However, this being the 20-year breakdown level that I've been kind of watching. Oh God, you can't even go back that far. It's so long ago. You got to go to a monthly to make this look reasonable. But this was the monthly candle body close right here. So put a big fat resistance line on it, and that is where we were stopped for now. We put in a high, a lower high, an even lower high, and then we broke the midpoint. That should be bearish market structure confirmed. Sometimes it's a bull flag. It's not, none of this stuff is 100%, but I have it as bearish market structure confirmed. And if that confirmed bearish market structure comes in, I like to take these fibs from the high to this low and hunt the shorts actually here, right? So even though it's like, hey, we're bearish, we're confirmed going to go lower, you're actually waiting for the squeeze before we go. So that could happen, or it could just chill, it could just chill, and eventually could go higher. But anyone who's looking at this squeeze up saying, aha, I knew it wasn't bearish, it's wrong. The way I do it, this is exactly the kind of thing you expect after you break the low. And so right now is the big question mark. What do we do here? So far, we tapped it and pulled back a little bit from 113 today. But this is a very important level to watch. Obviously, trading against an extremely strong weekly trend. This is a daily. The weekly is obviously not reversed yet. We can look at it. I'll just tell you right now. The weekly would officially become a bearish chart structure if we broke below this again, right? So we have high, we made a lower high here and then broke below that. Now you have a weekly downtrend. So yeah, it could come in. But as far as like me being a bull on some risk assets, particularly ETH, I love when the things I want to buy are in dips, and the Dixie tends to be inverse, is like making that squeeze higher after confirming the bear. All that to say, I think this is the dip I want to buy. At least I need to take that risk. I need to take a shot because everything's kind of pointing towards more up soon. And then if I'm wrong, and this thing breaks out and ETH comes all the way back down and this trend breaks and blah, 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 fills this in, like, okay, I'll trade that. I can trade that later. I can, cut, take a little profit because, being long from down here gives me the flexibility, which is nice. Point is, even if I didn't have any baked in profit and I was just long from up here, like there's invalidations. Namely, let's go see, where are the invalidations? Just before we go, guys. Well, let's just end where we started. Right about here. Finally, yeah, this looks like it wants to go higher. Finally, yeah. So finally figured out how to attach FTX to my trading view, which is nice. Too many fibs here. Too many fibs. Don't need them. I think there was just like 2 stacked. Anyways, yeah. If this wants to squeeze higher, I think invalidation for all of this bullishness I have on Ethereum locally. It's not like I'm abandoning an ETH bull thesis for next year if we break these lows, but I am certainly going to retreat down to the mid low 13s if we lose this range, if we lose this in earnest. Anything but like a sweep and go, which would be so savage, by the way, but just say, that could happen. But any kind of close in earnest below that, and I got to just cut my spots and retreat. But for now, I'm not ready to retreat just yet. I'm not fucking leaving. Not yet. So up into here, and it looks like we're heading higher. If a setup comes in, I might even take a short against those highs, hedge out some risk. But break up from this trend line and move sideways a bit, and I think the next move is up. Even if your macaroni analysis says J Pow's a big jerk and he's going to keep tightening and everything's got to keep going down. What about this? We'll end with this. What if the bear market for crypto was a foregone conclusion because this is like the 4-year fractal, blah, blah, blah. We just had our bull market. It's time to cool off. Historically speaking, you could say this year was destined to be shit anyways. Have we lost any lows or levels that we weren't meant to lose otherwise, that maybe it seems even worse than some other bear market? Nope. In fact, the previous bear markets all were worse than this. Some people think that means we're still heading lower. I would say possibly that there's just way more adoption and way more bid in a much more liquid market. And we're just not going to have as bad a bear market as last time. Famous last words, RT. But we'll see. And then all that to say, maybe we're not so correlated with the stock market as you think, because we were destined for a bear market this year, even if all those silly stocks were still slurping through the sky. Okay. Alliteration. That's all I got today, guys. That's all I got. Can't watch live. Okay, Pecan Beer, you can watch the replay. Dude, I appreciate you guys coming today. If you haven't already, hit the likes. I see 42 people here. I think 16 of you liked it. Let's try to up those numbers. Those are rookie numbers. And shout out to all the Hxro Labs and Hxro people who are out in Lisbon at Solana Breakpoint. I wish I could be there. I was there last year. Then the top of the market came in. So I can't go back anymore. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm staying home with the fam. I got a baby now, so I got to behave a little bit. Actually, I had a baby this time last year too, but I wasn't as ready to stay home yet. Okay. Can't look at the link chart today, Alex Gallagher, because I do have to go. But maybe in the pit we could put out some link charts a little later. Anyways, guys, whatever you do from now until next time, thanks for those 3 likes. I appreciate you guys. I see you. From now until next time, whatever you do, always play from a position of strength. Take care.